Hi folks, welcome back to the farm. We did the tomato trials a few videos ago, and those trials were based on primarily the taste and the texture and the look of the tomatoes. So now I wanted to bring you out in the garden and, sorry I'm out of breath, I've been picking, show you what the actual vines look like. And there's one that just really stands out, and we'll get to that one, but let's start at the beginning of the row down here. So we're on the west end of the garden, and these are my determinate tomatoes over here, and these are the indeterminates over here. You can see we've planted quite a few tomato varieties because it is our first year here in Nebraska, and I wanted to see what performed. These first ones here that are gone, I really did not care for. They were called a bush cherry. Very acidic and not a very pleasing cherry tomato when you would eat it fresh. But let's start over here on this other side. These first plants here are called a garden leader variety. And there's a sub name called Monster, so it's a garden leader Monster. And there are some monster tomatoes in here. Let me show you one down here. Big tomato that's probably 6 inches across. But you can see the vines. This one here I didn't get weaved quite well enough in the cattle panel, so it fell. But big, real healthy vines. It set a good amount of tomatoes, but not crazy amount. The tomatoes have a good flavor, but they're real bumpy on top. This one's not bad, still green. But a lot of the ones I've picked are real bumpy on top. There's another monster down there, split on top. But it's not a bad tomato. And the vines didn't do terrible. There's a little disease down here on the bottom. I probably could have got away from that if I would have pruned those lower limbs off as it grew. So let's go to the next variety here. Is this yellow variety. And you can see the plants are all about the same height within the different varieties. The yellow variety here seemed like a little more disease on the bottom, but again, if I would have pruned the bottom leaves off, may not have had this much. But we've got quite a few of the yellow tomatoes off here. If you're making relish or pico or something like that, it makes it pretty festive with the yellow color. But it's a pretty acidic tomato. I wasn't impressed with it. Now this next tomato, called Sweet 100s, you can see the plants start from about here and go to there. Very vigorous plants, pretty disease resistant. We've picked so many cherry tomatoes off of here, is unreal. And there's still a ton of tomatoes on here. And my cousin's got a restaurant. We've been taking them lots of cherry tomatoes. But if you like a cherry tomato, these tomatoes here are the ones to grow. But the plants did pretty good. Now the next one down here is Mortgage Lifter. And I'm not impressed with the vines at all. You can see they're pretty jacked up. It did set quite a few tomatoes, but I don't know if it's so much a red tomato. I haven't looked it up online. But these tomatoes don't seem to turn really red. So I'm not impressed with this variety here. It may do well in other areas. And then down here is my favorite tasting tomato. But the vines don't do well here. And that's a sad thing. They looked a lot better about a month ago. They looked like they were going to do really well, and I was excited. It's the better boy tomato. But it set lots of fruit. Lots and lots and lots of fruit. And I didn't get these woven very good either. Maybe because they grew slower. So some of these vines are fallen too. But a fantastic tasting tomato. And I wish the plants would have did better here in Nebraska. That's the end of our indeterminate row here. Now, this one on the end here died, so I planted an early girl in here late. So, early girl is kind of a tomato. It is early, as the name states. It'll be one of your first tomatoes if you plant them at the same time. I planted all my early girls late. Now this next variety, I got nothing but good stuff to say about it. The former owner recommended this variety, and I should have listened and just went with this variety, but I wanted to try different ones. But this one right here is the celebrity. And he must have did his homework, because these vines, if you look at them, did extremely well. They did really, really well. Look at them, just lush vines, not a lot of disease on the bottom. And I can't even tell you how much fruit we've picked out of here. We're picking this morning. It's an insane amount of fruit that this tomato sets. You can still see. I just started on this side, and there's a ton of fruit in there. We're going to be doing tomatoes today is why I'm out here picking. But can't say enough about the celebrity. And the flavor's decent. It's not too bad. And the tomatoes, one of your meatier type of tomatoes. So this one, just like the previous owner recommended, this one's going to be a winner out here. And let's see what this next variety is. Oh, something I forgot to tell you about these celebrity tomatoes. We got about 1.5 inches of rain about 5 days ago. And while all my tomatoes are wanting to split, these celebrity tomatoes are incredibly resistant to split. They're nice, firm tomatoes, and very few at all, if any, have split, where all my other varieties have. This next variety is a Rutgers. You can see the celebrities end right here, and then these are the Rutgers here to right there. The vines grew fairly good. This is more of a determinate. The celebrity is a semi-determinate. You can see how tall they got. But these did okay, and they seem to be resistant to cracks as well, but nowhere near what the celebrity is doing. The next variety that you see here, starting right here to right there, you can see they're all kind of the same height. Those are called Ameriglobe. They're nice, round, pretty good shape tomatoes. But the vines are starting to die off here in the fall. But you can see the amount of fruit they set. And because they're the determinate tomato, you see they're all coming in kind of at once, except for the ones on the very top. But that's what a determinate tomato does. If you want a lot of fruit at one time, determinate's your variety. But the vines here didn't do so well. Nothing like those down there. So these probably won't make it back in the garden. The Rutgers probably won't make it back. The last variety here is the San Marzanos. They didn't do terrible. There's quite a bit of fruit in there that I need to pick. And if you remember, the San Marzanos are kind of like the Romas, where they're very meaty inside. They're kind of oblong shaped tomato, smaller. So you're going to be peeling a lot of tomatoes, and the core goes a long way through those tomatoes, but super, super meaty. So if you want to do like a paste tomato, these are it. But the vines are dying back a little bit here in the fall. Of course, they all do, but this one seems to be going a little quicker than the rest. Now over here, Kelly and I came in yesterday and we picked all the acorn squash out of here. It was ready to go. Last week we took all the butternut squash out of here. And yesterday we got a wheelbarrow, this big blue wheelbarrow over here, full of acorn squash. So we have some to give away too. The peppers love this time of year. They don't dig the summer very well, but when you get into fall, they just start going crazy. We got jalapenos here and rainbow bell mix here. And we've been picking a lot of peppers. Let me bring you over here to the potato patch. If you remember, this end of the row of potatoes was real sluggish to grow and was way behind that end of the row down there. These were planted a little bit later. And these were potatoes from the store, whereas on that end, those were seed potatoes. The seed potatoes took off right away. We got to dig those. We're still digging these. But we mowed all of this down the other day so we could start digging. Well, you can see this end of the row down here still wants to grow. And they've re-sprouted down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this end down here grow. And it'll probably grow some more potatoes. The zucchini down there is going to be pulled out here real quick. We're about zucchini down. We got everything we need. So that's about the tail end. The garden's winding down and we're about ready for it too. This is our last run of tomatoes that we're going to can. We've got probably 20 some quarts down in the root cellar already, and we're probably going to get over 20 today, maybe almost 30. So we're going to do well today getting all these tomatoes canned, but Kelly's home, so we got help today, whereas the other day it took me all day long. So we still got apples to do too. We did pears yesterday. If you go on Mark Kelly Farm on Facebook, you'll see the pictures of the pears we did yesterday. But we got these apples to do too. We're going to start harvesting these apples. I don't want to say start, but maybe finish harvesting these apples tomorrow. I'm going to do it, and then I think we're both going to can tomorrow. This asparagus over here is just die hard. If you remember, we mowed all this stuff down and it's back crazy. Probably could have picked another bunch of asparagus in the fall, but we're going to let her go. So that's it for the kind of farm tour this morning. I wanted to show you the tomato vines and what they were actually doing, which is going to kind of change my decision what we plant next year. And we're not going to plant near as much. This was a test plot this year. Anybody that sees this knows this is an insane amount of tomatoes. Unless you're doing a market garden, you shouldn't be planting this many tomatoes. But hope you enjoyed the tour. We got some other stuff we're working on out here. We got to get back on the meat cleavers. We are refurbishing. We haven't posted that video yet, but we are working on them. So until next time, check out Mark Kelly Farms on Facebook and like that page. Like and share this video. It helps the algorithm and more people can see the videos and we can help more people. Again, we're not making money on this. That's not our goal. And we're not going to beg you to subscribe. But it does help more people when more people can see our videos. So stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. See you next time.